What's up, brand builders? Stephen Horahan here at brandmasteracademy.com, and in this video you're going to discover 3 sustainable competitive advantage examples with Apple, Amazon and Starbucks, so you can understand how these giant brands have not just cornered the market but created a moat to protect it from would-be competitors. Now, I created a video recently on sustainable competitive advantage, what it is, how to go about creating one. If you haven't seen that video, I'll leave a link in the description below. You should check it out. But one of the most important principles when it comes to effective positioning is that your position is defendable. There's no point going out into the market and saying that you're completely different if your competitors can just come along and replicate what you're doing. And a defendable position is exactly what a sustainable competitive advantage is. So the more difficult you're able to make it for your competitors to compete with you, the more effective your positioning strategy is. So let's take a look at some examples of brands with sustainable competitive advantages. Now look, we all know about Apple, about their beautiful designs, about their sleek products, and we all know about their founders and the story of Steve Jobs being fired from Apple and coming back in 1997 and stripping them of the mass amount of products that they had in the pipeline and simplifying the whole brand. But how can we explain Apple's continued sustainable advantage over its competitors? From the Macintosh to iPods and the all-conquering iPhone, what is Apple doing right? So let's just focus on the elements here. The Apple ecosystem first and foremost. Now, only Apple devices run on iOS, its operating system. And by comparison, most of Apple's competitors use the Android operating system. Now, this means that you have to stay within the Apple ecosystem to keep your digital purchases. You have to keep buying iOS devices in order to do that. So by hook or by crook, it's essentially what creates this unforeseen level of brand loyalty, which in many cases iPhone users simply can't imagine making the switch away from their beloved iOS. Now, I actually recently experienced this because our iPad was damaged and the iPad that I wanted to get wasn't available because of the product distribution issues that we've had since COVID. So I had a choice. I had to either wait for the iPad that I wanted or I had to go for an Android. And the timing of the issue meant that I needed an iPad because we were headed off and we've got 3 kids and we wanted to keep them entertained in those moments where we needed a break. So I decided to go for the Galaxy. And I have to say that coming from iOS to the Android, of course, if you're going to a new product, it's going to take some time to get used to it. But there are so many little things about iOS versus Android that for me, long term, this is just not something that I will keep in my arsenal of products is Android devices. I will definitely get that iPad that I've been waiting on, and I'll continue to get my iOS devices. And this is part of what Apple has created. They've created this ecosystem where you are bought in not just to the individual products themselves, but to the operating system and everything that you become used to with the Apple experience. Now, as iPhone sales continue to increase, this means more and more customers falling into Apple's walled garden. Now, as a business model, this binding of the consumer to a product ensures higher and higher profits for Apple down the track. And in addition to this, Apple has sole ownership of this commodity. Their operating system is their intellectual property and it's not for sale. They don't sell this to any other company. They don't allow other devices to have the iOS operating system within their devices. So it is really only Apple that you can go to for that. And this is one of their biggest strategic assets. And that's because many of their competing manufacturers, the likes of Samsung, HTC, Sony, they all use Android. Therefore, these manufacturers are always competing for market share, losing ground over lower costs, lower price competitors coming into the market using the same operating system. Now, another reason for Apple's advantage is their brand appeal. Now, Apple's brand appeal comes from its marketing magic. They have firmly established themselves and their reputation as an innovative player in the market, and they invest in product development and new technology all the time, always placing the user experience as the priority. And this is expertly communicated in their sleek advertising wrapped up with a bow in their simple yet elegant designs. And it is marketing wizardry because their phones are more expensive than their competitors, yet the software and technology are not actually more advanced or particularly higher quality. Their overall experience, the simplicity of the design of the product and the simplicity of the overall experience is part of that brand magic. And as we've all seen, as new products get announced, people keep rushing to upgrade, reinforcing the notion that the latest iPhone is as much a fashion statement as it is a technological upgrade. And as a business strategy, it's an incredible success story. The combination of brand appeal and the reinforcing loop nature of Apple's ecosystem should ensure that Apple retains its sustainable competitive advantage for a long time yet. Now, the next example of a sustainable competitive advantage is Amazon. Now, who knew that selling books online could lead to enough revenue to fund a space program? Now, of course, Amazon is now a vast behemoth and it has propelled Jeff Bezos to the #1 spot on the world's rich list. Amazon is now the undisputed leader in the world of online retailing, completely redefining the way the world shops online. There's no sign of Amazon letting up on this grip, and it's really creating that moat around their business that Apple has also created as well. So how did the online book selling company get here, and why can't its competitors get anywhere near them? Well, let's start with that book selling foundation. This was Jeff Bezos finding a niche with which to approach the relatively new world of online stores back in 1994. Finding a niche is a common method for finding a sustainable competitive advantage for which you can dominate. Now, there are several reasons that Jeff Bezos chose books as his first product to sell on his new everything store. And in an interview back in 1997, he said that books were such a great choice because books are so unique and there are so many different categories to choose from and so many different audiences that will come from those categories. So when you have that many items, you can literally build a store online that couldn't exist in any other way. So what Jeff Bezos did, he ultimately selected a niche that brought in a vast array of different types of customers who liked different things, different genres, different categories, who could potentially like different types of products as well. So Jeff Bezos decided that their value proposition and what would set them apart from their competitors was that they would provide a greater value to customers through a combination of extraordinary convenience, instant access, and a comprehensive selection as well. And as if that wasn't enough, it would also be cheap, giving them the cost advantage also. Now, this was initially applied to the niche of books and later then expanded into the vast selection of everything that you can buy on Amazon today. They built Amazon on the strategy that prices should be kept as low as possible to attract as many customers as possible, rather than charging high prices to maximize profits. The prices were backed up with the great review system, ensuring that customer trust was built around the brand. Now, when you break it down like that, it all seems very simple and very obvious that this was obviously going to be a very successful business, but it still doesn't explain Amazon's meteoric rise. The rise was due to some fantastic decision making, choosing to invest in the supply chain to create a whole new distribution system. Short-term thinking, this was not. The innovative and effectively controlled distribution enabled Amazon to provide quicker deliveries, ensure the exact delivery date, and keep its promises on product quality and delivery as well. And as the business grew, it also benefited from economies of scale. Small businesses selling the same thing simply couldn't compete with the advantage that Amazon held with its infrastructure. And look, the beauty about Amazon is that they make it so easy. I had to buy a wire the other day for an old camcorder that I need to take the old movies off, and I literally jumped online, and I think I was around about a minute, and I was able to find the product and I was able to hit two buttons and it was on the way and it was delivered, a day later. So it's so convenient, and it's hard to get away from that, and it's hard to see any competitor challenging Amazon in the near future. So Amazon is going to hold on to that competitive advantage for a long time, I would think. Our next example of a sustainable competitive advantage is Starbucks. Now, between 1998 and 2008, Starbucks grew from 1,886 stores to 16,680 stores. Now, by far the largest coffee chain in the world, Starbucks famed CEO Howard Schultz made the most of product differentiation and clever marketing strategies to set itself apart from other coffee chains. When he acquired the brand, there were 17 stores, but he had grand ambitions to be premium yet ubiquitous. Now, part of Starbucks' branding was to establish themselves and to establish the position in the mind of the audience as the third place, somewhere between work and home where people could meet socially, study, work, or relax in a warm and welcoming environment. And they absolutely nailed this aesthetic, and it set them apart from their competition. Other companies like McCafe and Dunkin', they were focused on a fast food vibe. And that was the difference that Starbucks offered. They didn't want you to come get your coffee and then head off. They didn't want that takeaway, that fast food vibe. They wanted you to come and enjoy their environment, enjoy the relaxed atmosphere, whether you were studying or meeting socially or doing a little bit of work. Along with the environment, Starbucks also established the reputation for quality, using only the finest beans and the best Swiss coffee making equipment. Starbucks played up to its exotic nature in everything it did, down to its sizes with the Grande and the Venti, and providing that connection with Italian coffee culture. And this really did endear the coffee chain to its target market, those city workers heading to strategically located cafes who are willing to pay higher prices for a premium product. Besides the high quality coffee, all the products including tea, chocolates, drinks, fruit juices, and food items at Starbucks use high quality and ethically stored ingredients. And that last point is especially pertinent to Starbucks' brand strategy, the notion that they believe in principles of sustainability and ethical initiatives, and they will not compromise on this for lower cost products. They banked on customers being willing to pay extra, knowing that the ingredients were ethically sourced, and it has paid off long term. In fact, Starbucks has actually taken control of its supply chain, buying up coffee plantations and other sources of ingredients to create a vertically integrated farm-to-store supply chain. And this ensures a competitive advantage, as Starbucks isn't affected by fluctuations in the price of ingredients such as coffee, cocoa, and tea. As a final point on Starbucks' focus on their products, go in and take a look at the Starbucks menu next time you pass by. It's constantly changing, and they are the market leaders in innovating ways that people can get their caffeine fix, with seasonal promotions and new and exciting combinations. Always freshen up the menu. This keeps customers coming in to try their latest creations. So what can you learn from these success stories? Well, obviously you're not going to be the next Amazon. You're not going to be the next Apple or the next Starbucks. But you can still take a lot away from their sustainable competitive advantage examples. They are all focused on the customer. They think, eat, breathe, sleep the customer, and everything within the brand is developed for the customer, for that brand experience. So when you're developing out your brand, when you're defining your competitive position within the market, look into the market to see what your competitors are doing. Look at the entire customer journey from start to finish and try and find ways that you can improve on that journey. Try and find ways that you can improve that experience. What can you bring to the table that your customers would really value, and how can you refine that overall experience so it feels seamless, so it makes it easier, more comfortable, a better end-to-end experience. So really take the time to step into the shoes of your customers, walk in their shoes, walk their journey, feel their challenges, feel their pain points, and really get a feel for how you can provide an experience that will give them something different to what's already out there in the market. Now, if you want to dive deeper, then this video up here will help you out. But before you click on it, make sure you hit the like and subscribe to make sure you get notified of new videos just like this. Until next time, brand like a master, and I'll see you in the next video.